Come in, have a seat. Let me tell you a story right quick. As a child, I was very good. I obeyed my parents. I was no problem. Then I became older and I started to get into my rebellion stage. Now, growing up in church was a big part of my life, but still, I was the type where you could tell me something but then I had to experience it for myself. So I tried smoking and drinking, and I didn't like it. That just didn't suit me. I began to party in club, and that didn't fit me either. So I just ran and ran and ran from God. I knew I was called. I knew something was on my life, but I didn't know exactly what and when. It's just something kept pulling me back to God. So I was 1 foot in and 1 foot out. But it reminded me of the story of Jonah, when Jonah was unsure about his calling and he fled to Tarshish instead of going to Nineveh like he was instructed. And then he ended up fleeing by getting on a ferry. And then when he got on the ferry, the boat began to get rocky. And after the boat began to get rocky, it was like all the mariners was on the boat and they began to get into a panic. And they was like, they don't know what to do. So they went down at the bottom to get Jonah. Jonah was fast asleep. Like, they probably like, get up, what are you doing? But the captain went down, he got him, he woke him up, he was let him know what was going on. And then they ended up doing this thing where it's called casting lots. Casting lots is basically where you would go in and at the appropriate time you would like basically draw out certain things to come to like a determination. So then after that, they ended up saying, hey, it's basically you, Jonah. Like, you're the one who's causing this. You're the one who's doing this. So, once before they were saying, hey, Jonah, pray to your God that we would not perish. And it's so funny how they would even say that because they didn't even know the God who, that he served, but they trusted him enough that he could save them. So then after that, they ended up, after casting lots, they ended up claiming that he was the one. So then they started questioning him. And they was like, please tell us who caused this on us. Where do you work? Where do you come from? Where is your country? What people are you? So they was wanting to know. They was needing answers. So then, Jonah began to tell him who he was. He was telling him that he feared the Lord and the God of heavens and made the sea and dry land. But at that time, it's so funny because Jonah was in his disobedience. So did he really fear God at that moment? No, because he wasn't thinking about the consequences. And that's like us. We don't think about the consequences. So we just do it and then, get into like a jam after that. But there's always consequences that we have to face. And it's so funny because even after that, they was basically asking him, what should we do to make the sea calm? Because the sea was just so in an uproar. So then after that, they threw him off